Hi there, everyone. Welcome.
No, we're not on live.
Yeah, we are. We're live.
Oh, we are live?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we can start welcoming everyone.
Hi, welcome Faith. Welcome Sharon. We're so happy to have you here. This is great. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's see who else is coming up. Great. More women connecting. Yeah, she spotlighted us. So hi, Pina. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. And Kate. Welcome,
hey, Angie.
Kate and Angie. Nice to see you, ladies.
Hello.
Is this your, maybe you should turn off your,
I can't.
Your Outlook Express or your inbox?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
great. Hi, Rochelle. Nice
Hi,
to
Rochelle.
see you. Good to
Great.
see you, beautiful. It's good. So many nice women on the call. Thank you so much. Lots of nice, courageous women.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time Joanna and I have had a chance to be together, actually. We were wearing masks a minute ago. Good. We're going to do some great digging deep today.
Oh, this over here.
Can you roll it down here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll just wait a few more minutes and then we'll get started.
Okay. Yeah, we know people join as the time comes in. Hello, Anita. Nice to have you with us. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. I'm excited to be involved with this. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
I am staying muted because I've got plumbing work going on in my house. So that's why.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely. You
Yeah.
want to be muted on that one. Hi,
Hi.
Ellen.
Hi, Laura Robinson.
Oh, hey, Laura.
Good to see you.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for doing this.
So nice to be together on this sunny day.
Yes.
Hi, Angie.
You're jumping around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One day Laura is going to be on here previewing her book.
We'll see.
It's nice to have the nice doorknob in the
good.
background.
It's good.
You guys look amazing. Or you just get some notes here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll keep letting people come in, but I'm going to get started. So welcome everyone to our WXN Virtual Book Club. And this month we are so pleased and happy to be featuring Tanya Chernova and Joanna Andros and their book, UnderMind. So, perfect. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. Tanya and Joanna are powerful and charismatic educators, coaches, therapists, and best-selling authors who have inspired countless people around the world to live their best lives. Their book, UnderMind, Discover the Seven Self-Conscious Beliefs That Sabotage Your Life and How to Overcome Them, introduces the groundbreaking PNRT, so Progressive Neural Resolution Therapy, a revolutionary and proven means of overcoming subconscious barriers and maximizing individual potential. They are leaders of the women's global empowerment company, Courageous Living, and master educators in the area of personal growth and development. Their valuable and energizing methods help women recharge and reconnect to themselves, their power, and their dreams. They candidly lead lessons and exercises in their engaging events to help women get extraordinary results and write the next fulfilling and joyous chapters of their lives. These powerful teachers will be a turning point in your life. So that's the scripted write-up. To speak from the heart of how we've been interacting with Tanya and Joanna over 2020 It's been quite a year, and this is the second time that we've had the opportunity to work with them. They joined us during our earlier Unite and Rise events and have just been really wonderful at championing WXN and being a great support through lifting women and helping us live our best lives. Tanya is a Top 100 award winner, and we're happy to have her as part of our Top 100 community, and of course happy to have both of you as definitely participating individuals in our community. We appreciate you so much, and we're really looking forward to today's event.
Thank you,
So
Virginia.
I will
Virginia.
send it over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Virginia, and thank you so much to everyone who's come on this webinar today. We're so thrilled to be with you, and you are right. We also want to thank WXN for all of the incredible work you've done during COVID. You've supported, women with so many reoccurring events that have been just crucial to, I think, our development. And we are here together with you. We are. It's like a lot of people who write a book and you think, okay, we've got the answers and here they are. But this is the type of work where we are always in the ring, in the growth and development and the discovery as you are, because we never stop getting triggered as people. And ultimately, at this moment, this extremely difficult year, there's never been a more important time to talk about this topic and get control of our mindset, which is an ongoing thing. We get control of it, then we get off, then we get back on again. So this gives us an opportunity to kind of get that reset. And at this moment, because there's so much uncertainty moving forward, we're really facing some of the most challenging times where honestly, even the most positive, most successful, most resilient people are finding it difficult to stay positive because of all the uncertainty. And, the reason is because we're working with our subconscious mind. Ultimately, when we actually get triggered, it brings up all of these emotions that are not just present day emotions, but emotions that come from our early childhood development and our past. And that's what then intermixes with how we feel today. And, that's why we called our book UnderMind. And you can see the kind of the tearaway sheet where you have all these wonderful thoughts where you say, I'm fine, I'm smart, I'm confident, I'm capable. And then underneath, it's this, I hate myself, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, understanding. And that's because underneath, there's always something working underneath in the subconscious mind that can undermine our results in our health, in our finances, in our relationships. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that and the actual blueprint of self-sabotage today. Mm-hmm. And this deeper work is so vital, and we stand for it so much because regardless of our circumstances, what we really know is that we are, creators of our life, or, co-creators with the universe. But ultimately, we're creators of our life. No matter what the outside circumstances, no matter what the news says or anything, we still hold the power. We still hold the power to be happy, to be healthy, to be wealthy, and to create the lives we want and create lives that are fulfilling to us. And that's the most important thing. So today we want to talk about harnessing that power and then, reclaiming that ability to create the life we want despite the circumstances.
Exactly. And hello, ladies. I guess I haven't talked yet, but I forgot to say hello. Anyway, so yes, and so for us, getting into why we wrote the book and over the many years that we work with so many people with their visions and their goals and the things that they wanted to achieve, they just, we found that they weren't getting the results they want, including ourselves. That's really what it started with our journey. Why is this so hard? Why are we not getting the results we want? So whether it's in your work, whether it's in your love life, your relationships, or the money you want, and then when it's not working, people have a tendency to just muscle up and try harder. Okay, I've got to just try harder and dig in more. But then it just constantly keeps us on this, treadmill of struggle and harder and harder. But we wrote this book really with our own journey of healing, and what we found it was really key to it, but is to really find out why and share with people why it's so hard, why it really is becoming so hard to get the results, and then to have people be able to break that pattern so that you can keep your life in flow. And it does take deeper work. It is deeper work and a deeper look at what really is sabotaging us and what's in the way, and that's a key, because it's like we understand that what's in the way is the way. If we could actually figure out what is blocking us, stopping us, getting us stuck, that is, if we got that out of the way, truly this is the way to be able to get the results that we want. And so we need to heal what's in the way. We need to discover what our limiting beliefs are at a subconscious level, because our beliefs are our mind's operating system, just like the software of a computer. And so it's running us. And so we have to become aware of our programs and clear our mind of any corrupt programs that are not working, and that are keeping us in fear, low self-esteem, or unhappy, or just not getting the results we want. We want to keep the positive ones we have in there. That's fine. We're not even talking about those today. Those are good, and we all want to keep those. But it's just looking at what are the negative ones that are really in the way. And the reward for doing that deeper work is that our life really can be easier, and there can be more flow, and there is truly peace of mind at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that we wrote our book is exactly the way that we run our workshops. Our workshops are highly interactive, just like today's going to be interactive. So we want you to participate in the chat. We want to hear from you as we're moving through this, because a part of this, we're actually going to take you through an exercise. So kind of unlike the other book reviews where you're going to hear about the authors and how, why the book, etc., we really want to actually go through an exercise with you. And every single chapter of the book really helps you understand how you're feeling and what changes you need to make. And that's the key here, right? Like in the second chapter, it's called Your Results Reveal What's Undermined in Your Life. So what are the different areas of your life where you're feeling low satisfaction? And unlike most books, which are kind of passive reading, like I've read a ton of transformational books, so have you, and so have all of you, The Power of Now, etc. Like so many good books out there, but most of them are like you taking in the information. It's like, and that's a very safe and unchallenging way to go through this personal development book. But what we really wanted to do was actually go through like your traumatic incidents, understand what is the part of us. There's a parts of us exercise that helps you understand, why does a part of me want this, but another part of me wants that? And you really get to do the investigative work, because that's where all of the answers are. All of the answers are actually within you. Our goal is to help bring them out so that you understand who you really are, and like know thyself, to thine own self be true. And what we love about this work too is that when you do the deeper work, you actually also uncover your authentic, true goals in life. So many times when we work with powerful women, there's a lot of should goals. I'm at this age, I should have this, or I should weigh this, or I should be, because we look at all of the brilliant examples of other people in life and think, what, that looks like I should do that. But then ultimately, if we don't do the deeper work and really connect to that inner compass and get to know ourselves, then you never really know what your heart truly desires. And then you go through life often unfulfilled because you're chasing something that's not really for you personally. And so we're going to actually go through an exercise in chapter 5, a little bit later on. But before we actually go into the dynamic psychology of the work itself, we want to tell you a little bit about our own journey in terms of, what really even prompted us to meet, and the healing that we had to go through to get this far.
Okay. And I'm going to be looking over here a little bit because I have some notes just to keep me on track, because a whole lifetime, how do you put that in a very small amount of time? So I just want to share that in my life I had much love in my life and a beautiful family, but from all my very young years, I created I had a lot of defining moments in my life that made me create a plethora of negative core beliefs.
You can do it. You're
That's
good.
right.
You are good. You're
That's
good.
right.
Well, just
of course.
relax. You're good.
Yeah, I'm good. So anyway, and those core beliefs, some of those negative core beliefs are, I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not smart enough. I definitely had abandonment issues. Control issues, definitely being that control person, firstborn of 4 kids. People pleasing, always the way to do it. And low self-esteem, which included self-loathing, to really the thing where you hate yourself, which contributed really to me marrying, marrying the first guy I kissed at 18 years of age, and being married very young, and then also contributing to even a life-threatening disease, which actually killed my kidneys when I was 25 years old, and then put me on dialysis for 3 years. And then fortunately I got a kidney transplant from my wonderful sister Bethel. But a lot of those things, of course, are our formative life. It's Tanya's mine. But my biggest journey really started when I was 36, as I was coming out of a 17-year marriage and I was starting over. So thankfully, I built my industrial packaging business to a point where I had the financial freedom to just take a break and focus on me. After everything that I've been through, I'd made a commitment to myself that this time I really was going to do everything to learn about myself, take care of my needs, and heal what needed to be healed so that I would not make the same mistakes again. And I was really determined to make better choices going forward in my life. So that decision propelled me really on a journey, as Tanya was mentioning, of self-discovery and in every aspect of my life. So mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, sexual, creative, expressive, and financial. Every aspect needed to be looked at. And I took every course that I could find in every single kind of modality. I did lots of therapy and I read voraciously. It was like a vacuum, because I was completely focused on healing myself. And for the first time, I really was discovering like who I was, and that I wasn't this like so-called perfect person. I always had to be this perfect person that I felt I should be. And what a relief to know that I didn't have to be that person. So as I looked within, I discovered how all of these negative beliefs that I had made, and inner chatter about myself that I'd had as a child, had really so profoundly run my life, made my choices, and caused unwanted results. It was, the 5-year-old, the 8-year-old, the 10-year-old, the 2-year-old, different ages that were running my life, not really the adult at that time who was 36 and 38 and 40 on, and all the rest of my life. And even those core beliefs had really even been affecting my health, and had a profound effect on my health. So I threw myself into subconscious therapy to help me reprogram my beliefs. I knew that I had to tackle those subconscious core beliefs layer by layer if I was going to achieve different results and finally feel some high self-esteem. And it worked. It really worked. And the results I wanted finally came easier. And they were easier to achieve. And many other bonuses came, like peace of mind, and really a deep self-love, to be able to look in the mirror and really say, I love myself. That was massive. Where before I would cry looking at myself in the mirror, like I can't say these nice things to myself. I was able to gain more respect for myself, have healthy boundaries, and self-esteem grew at such a deep level. Who I attracted was healthier. And that included men and friends, just all people, anything, a business in my life. I knew that I was worthy and I deserved happiness, and I really felt it. So my profound healing journey inspired me to help others as well to discover their destructive and negative beliefs and heal themselves to create the life that they loved. So I'd been holding day-long workshops for women to help them start their journey of self-discovery and love. That was a big passion as well, to do those things and share all these things with women. And then soon after that, I had a successful life and business coaching practice. I noticed that my clients also had the same problems, like where they were procrastinating and not getting the results they wanted. So regardless of their goal, they had those parts of them that were taking over. They were getting triggered and hijacking their results, their life, their joy, everything. So I created a protocol of this subconscious therapy that I do now that has been very successful. I've been doing it for 16 years, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. It works. It helps people get results faster. And I've continued this passionate work, and I've been loving every moment of it. And, along this journey and just near the end of that, Tanya came into my life. So how would you like to tell us a little bit about you and your journey?
Sure. And I really acknowledge you, Joanna, for this journey, honestly, that you've been on, because Joanna, you know, when I met her, she became quickly a mentor to me, and she's mentored so many other women. And at the time I was already successful in my own world, but I want to let you know that while she was telling you this story and, you know, thinking that she's had all of these undermining beliefs, Joanna, from the outside to other people, you know, I didn't know her back then, but I've seen all her pictures and her thing. She was already successful. That's the thing, is that you can't see when other people have these limiting beliefs in their life, because women are fantastic at making themselves look amazing. You know, she was already successful in a packaging company. She was already out there teaching people how to put pallet wrap around boxes. She was a woman that was like a leader in her family and in her community. You know what I mean? Nobody would have looked at Joanna and thought, this woman has low self-esteem, because the way she acted was very confident, very, you know, wielding, and had a lot of tenacious spirit in her. And that's the thing. It's like, you know, you'd think that because we feel somehow that we're not good enough on the inside, what ends up happening is that it manifests in different ways, which we'll talk about kind of when we get to the book. But you know, it's like a lot of people who are hyper successful in a lot of ways are actually operating on those undermining beliefs, because that's what's driving you to do better, to prove yourself, to think, if I'm not good enough, right?
I'm worthy. Not deserving.
That's right. I'm going to prove that I'm worthy. I'm going to start becoming demanding. You know, I deserve it. You know, sometimes people get really demanding about their worth, but if you really had your worth, you wouldn't necessarily need to be so demanding, because everything would be, like we said, a bit more ease and flow. And that's the thing. So we know that even when we meet women or people today that have their life like it looks like it's all together, we realize that we're embracing, you know, people with compassion, because we know that underneath it all, there's a lot of wounded programs that might be plaguing them in their quiet moments. And I definitely was one of those people. Like when I met Joanna, I was 31. So a lot of the times, just so you know, women will wake up in their early 30s. You know, in their 20s, it's kind of like you're still out there, you're still proving it to yourself, you're still living your life, you're still taking your chances, etc. But a lot of the times by 31, which is when a lot of women actually wake up and kind of get divorced if they got married very early, is that you realize, wait a minute, like, what am I doing? Why am I putting up with this? Or why is this happening over and over again? Because you're old enough at that point to see a pattern in your life. Like, enough has happened where you think, you know what? This kind of looks like it's happening again and again. And, you know, some people don't see it till they're 40 or 50. But for me, you know, I had really always been very career oriented and successful. I was raised by a very kick-ass mother, you know, who kicked my ass basically every day. So I achieved things very early on, and, you know, university at 16. And I was like, if there was top 20 under 20, top 30 under 30, top, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff, which is, you know, I've got to say, I didn't realize what was running me at the time, but it definitely was a fear of not being good enough. Because, and I'll just talk, instead of talking about a bunch of stuff, I'll just talk about one defining moment that really came clear to me. And I'm telling you, I didn't even realize this was a thing until I started to do this deeper work. When I had to go back to a defining moment, I thought of when my mother told me we're from Russia. So in Russia, it's very popular at the time, the way you raised your kids, not to compare you to your siblings, because of course that creates animosity. So my mother would compare me to what is this other girl, you know, like this other girl. So in my mother's life, it would be like this other girl would have had a higher test score. This other girl would have made the bed neater. This other girl would be more respectful to her mother. This other girl wouldn't forget her backpack. Mamma mia. By the time I was 14, I was ready to kill this other girl. Like, I'm like, oh my God, you know. And the reality was that what it did for me is that, you know, and again, my mother's hope was that it was going to actually help me reach higher, and it was motivational. But what it did for me is that it made me feel like there was always, no matter what I achieved, another girl that was better, that was smarter, that was right for the job, that was, you know. So I never could claim my own success. I really always felt like an imposter, because I thought, you know what, they're only giving this to me because they didn't meet the other girl. Okay, it was just, but I didn't know I was operating on that. And that's the thing. So by the time I got to, you know, in my late, by the time I was 27, I actually built my own brand of skincare products. And on the shopping channel, I actually built my own $1 million company in my first year by going around the shopping channels. And it was just amazing what I was able to create. But personally, I had a lot of negative beliefs around love, and I didn't know that. So I was coming to Joanna at 31 because I'd just come out of a defining relationship, and I'd left a man who ultimately I learned after was a narcissist. But, you know, it's kind of like he was the best learning for me because I didn't realize what it was to be loved by somebody who agreed with me that I wasn't good enough. You know, and then I literally died trying in that relationship, and I became a shell of myself, and I didn't have any boundaries, you know, and I lost myself. And I was a really accomplished person, but I fully lost myself in that relationship. And we always think like, who am I? What's happening? And that's because there's something underneath that's running us and creating our decisions when we're trying, you know, to work through this stuff. So when I met Joanna, she was already showing a bootleg copy of The Secret. Some of you may have seen that movie. And she'd had an earlier copy before distribution. And when I learned that my beliefs created my life, I'm like, are you telling me my thinking created my life? I was determined to never make those same mistakes. And that's where, again, like we agreed there, it's like, we want to do things differently. What's the source of this? And the source of this was our thinking, and the source of our thinking were our beliefs. So where did this come from? And that's where our big journey, you know, came from. And I, again, threw myself like Joanna in all the courses and all the work. And then by the time I'd done a year of it, we came together and said, listen, we have to help women through this journey. We have to call, you know, create a company.
People.
Yeah, people, exactly.
Yeah.
But it was like we created Courageous Living because it takes courage. And that's the hard part, right? Like nobody wants to face their past. We want to think it's over. You don't want to get into the yucky stuff, but it takes courage, not only just to set the goal and say, I want a better life and I'm willing to make changes, but it also takes courage to do the deeper work because it's terrifying sometimes to go into that place and have to rework those mind programs. But, you know, again, we've tried to make it as easy as possible by, you know, doing these types of exercises. So we also determined that in this, and this is what's great about it, we did 10 years of research for this book, you know, in neuroscience, in like the deeper beliefs, in the transformational work. And what we
and a lot of the therapy that I did.
Right.
So obviously working with hundreds and hundreds of people,
Yeah.
and seeing how always at the core of it is always these very simple conversations, which are awful conversations, destructive conversations, you know, corrupt belief systems, but we all fundamentally have them, some version of them. We truly all can be running from those underneath, and how important it is to be able to be aware of those and to identify them and realize that once we identify them, we can recognize, oh, that's not me at 35 years of age, 45, 55, whatever age we are. But it's it throws me off. Yes, it's not those. It's not our adult self, that it is that younger part inside, those traumas from the past or those defining moments.
Yeah. And our measure of success for this book, because listen, we can all get the check marks, like, you know, in terms of getting what we want by muscling through. But for us, we said, you know what, instead of measuring life by RPM, meaning how fast do we get through it, right? But we measured it by JPM, which is joy per minute. Can you still be in a state of joy every day? That's what we really want for ourselves and for you and for everyone, you know, who reads this book. And we realized, and so many women were like, why is it so hard? Or, you know, they get the relationship. Like I actually ended up marrying the right man for me. I'm in a wonderful, thank God, loving, beautiful relationship. I did the work. I have a great kid. But then there's times where it doesn't, like, you don't feel like it's joy, you know, and I think, okay, I've got to go back now. And we want you to know that every time you set a new goal, right, and again go outside your comfort zone, you get triggered again. And we realized that, you know, because when so many women said, we have our vision, but why is it so hard for me to take the steps? Like, I just want to stay in bed. I don't want to do the thing that needs to be done. And we realized at that point through our research that actually, and we created this blueprint for self-sabotage, because procrastination is not an act like self-doubt. or fear in and of itself. It's actually a 7-step blueprint, and we're going to show you what that is.
So let's get into that. So we're
Okay.
going to actually share some slides with you, just that'll make it easier, make it visual for you.
And if you have any questions along the way, like by all means, please put them in the chat. We do have questions from you from before.
And thank you for the ladies. We can see some of your chat notes right now. So thank you for that. And always feel free. And there'll be times we'll be asking you some things to participate. And if you want to just throw your comments in there or the answers, that would be great.
Yeah. And what we'd like you to do is actually make sure that you have a pen and a paper in front of you.
Yes. Yeah.
Where is my...
Oh,
no. I knew this was going to happen. We tested everything. Hang on a second.
It's not that one there?
No, it's that, but it doesn't work. Okay, so in the meantime, let me just get this done.
Can you see it, Virginia, on the screen?
No. Not yet. I can change it. Hang on. There it is.
No, not yet. I could, though.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. I just had too many windows open, right?
Oh, okay. Yep. Now I
it is.
can.
There we go. Can you see it now?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay, so basically just the copy of the book so that you understand what we're talking about. And it was the UnderMind, so discovering the 7 subconscious beliefs that sabotage your life and how to overcome them.
And really we wanted to identify so clearly, we want you to know, start from this place right now. There's obviously different parts of the brain, amygdala and frontal cortex and all these different parts. There's many more than 2, but we really want to focus today on the fact that there is your conscious mind, which is your frontal cortex, which is here. And that is responsible for your rational, logical, reasonable, thoughts. It's you at whatever age you are right now in the present moment, whether you're 30, 40, or 50 years old or 60 years old. It is the real you as the adult. It's where you have your real willpower. You have the ability to stop for a moment and say, hang on, I want to do this, or I got to get this done right now. You know, that gun to the head feeling when all of a sudden you have a project and you stop everything else and you're like, I'm at it. That is a very important part of our mind, so powerful. And yet, as we notice on the slide, you can see scientists have recognized that it only operates 1 to 5% of the day. So that's very little in the day, because we have to allow ourselves to actually get to that place where we stop and get really concentrating on something, or let me think, let me figure this out. It is a place of real creativity. But now, the other part of the mind we want to talk about today as well is your subconscious mind. So we're going to just call it all the parts in the back here. And basically it's where all your programs have gone from your childhood. Everything's been dumped in there. Every belief system, every memory, it's like file folders, like, you know, in Microsoft documents and Office, you know, where you have all of those file folders filled with all your memories and your belief systems. But it can be, it's an irrational part of the brain. It is emotional part of the brain. It is the autopilot part of us. It's the part that just takes over, that gets triggered very fast. It's 1,000,000 times faster than your conscious brain. This is, you'll notice that because sometimes it'll be like, let me think about something, and you really do go slower in that place of thinking. Whereas when things come up really quick, like a thought, boom, 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 or you get triggered. And we all know what that's like in a moment where all of a sudden somebody says something to us we don't like, or something happens, and then boom, it comes up so fast. We've felt that 1,000,000 times faster than the rational, logical brain, and it operates 95 to 99% of the day. So really take note of this, because you're up against that it's the programming that's in there is going to be really important to look at, because it's operating most of our day. I mean, we're in sleep mode for 7 or 8 hours, and that's completely subconscious as well. That's where you have irrational dreams and all sorts of thoughts that happen. But anyway, so these 2 parts of the brain we want to talk about.
Exactly. And, you know, your conscious mind is also your short-term memory. So you know, make a goal for yourself. So for example, you'll get it like, this is me. Okay. I get up on my scale. I'm like, okay, Tanya, no carbs today, or make better decisions. I consciously make a choice, and then I get a phone call, and this is also me, you know. And if you notice the way she's eating, right, this is a very subconscious way. She's very unconscious in her approach to this popcorn, and her nails will be scraping the bottom of the bag before she realizes what's really happening. And that's the whole point, is that, you you know, your conscious mind has that short-term memory where you make this goal, but then your subconscious mind is what's really taking over. And it's programmed for survival. I know many of you have already done so much exploration in this work, so this is like review for you, but it's not because your subconscious mind actively tries to undermine you. No part of your brain wants you to be hurt ever. In fact, what it's doing is actually trying to keep you safe. And what it's trying to do is keep you safe from whatever you perceive as scary, right? And that's the thing. It's like, you know what, and because, you know, when we think about the future or the unknown and we have a goal, when we don't know what's about to happen, unfortunately, our mind also goes to the worst case scenario. So your subconscious mind sees this worst case scenario and goes, don't do it, stay in bed. You know what I mean? The prospect of you having to like eat less food tomorrow makes you binge the night before. So, you know, any possibility of failure, of rejection, of facing uncertainty, you know, or, you know, the possibility of death, like skiing for the first time at the top of the hill. Like you'd think you'd be enjoying Switzerland from this beautiful view. Meanwhile, your mind's like, you're going to die, right? So it depends. That's more my mind. Most of you are probably good skiers. So, you know, and when you get triggered in this fear, that's where the subconscious mind actually throws you not just into fight or flight. And this is where, again, you'll either defend yourself or try to be controlling, or all of a sudden start, you know, like taking over ultimately. Or it could be flight. It could be that you're an avoider. It could be that you kind of stick your head in the sand and think it's all going to work out. I'm not going to worry about it. You know,
just numb out.
Yeah, exactly. Numb out. Like
flight.
Exactly. You just not deal with it. Or, you know, what a lot of people do is that if they don't have the answer, they just freeze. And so when you look at parts of your life, there's parts of your life where you could be trying to manipulate an outcome. There's parts of your life where you're avoiding certain aspects or areas because you're not wanting to look at them, and you focus instead on where your competencies are. It could be avoiding love because of and numbing out with work, or it could be avoiding work and numbing out with something different like exercise, where it could be easy for you. And then there's, you know, another aspect which we don't talk about often, which is please. And that's something I'm really guilty of too, is that when I know I'm triggered, and this is where you have to know yourself and where the book really helps you identify. It's like when I'm triggered, I just want to please everyone. I stop thinking about myself. I just want to make sure everyone's okay, and I'll give up and give in just so I don't have to deal with conflict. Okay. So ultimately though, what happens? Like, how does that happen? How do you become a fighter, a flighter, or a freezer or a pleaser? How do you become the person who responds to your life the way you do? And this is where I think it's helpful to even just share that quote that we hear a lot, which is, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. But it's like, okay, good wisdom. But the question is, what determines how we respond to it? And that's where we do this deeper work.
Exactly. So we want to look at then, so how does our mind become programmed, and how do we change the results we want? And we want to keep moving forward in this. And so how does it become programmed? Well, it starts right in the womb. Believe it or not, right in the womb. And even what's so fascinating, even the therapy that I do, because it is a subconscious therapy I do, that there's many people that have been here for a session, and it really takes them back into the womb and knowing an experience or feeling something right from the beginning of they weren't worthy or important, or that the world was scary, because whether it was parents were fighting in the house all the time, and they heard that, they felt all the tension around, they heard it. We know about hot housing. I don't know if everyone's know about that, but when you're pregnant, that we now know you can like talk to your belly and love your belly, touch your belly. Husband can come put his head up. You can put music to your belly. Why is that? It's because right in the womb, we already can start learning. So we start learning about life. We start making decisions about life, if it's safe out there, or whether or not we deserve life. Even, you know, a number, they know that, you know, whether their mother got married very young or in a religious situation where it was like shameful, they like, you're going to be in big trouble. Oh my goodness, should I have an abortion? Should I get rid of this child, or my life's going to be over. I'm going to be in big trouble. Well, all the neuropeptides and everything that's going and flooding that baby, and that feeling that baby takes in. So the neuronal wiring already starts. And we know, and scientists and neuroscientists know, and when we study the brain, that these neurons just take snapshots of thoughts and feelings, and they become our wired beliefs, our wired feelings. As it says here on the slide, what fires together wires together. So all of a sudden, it's like a thought, a belief, a situation, a defining moment. These things then become wired together, and then they wire again, and over and over and over, keep firing and wiring. So the more we practice these beliefs, the more we see more proof. These things just get stronger and stronger and etched in our mind.
Yeah, exactly. And so what Joanna is saying is that there's two ways that you can actually create this neuronal connection. So either a defining moment where something really happens to you, either positive or negative, and you all of a sudden come up with a decision, which is what we're going to explore. And then it's repetition. Repetition also creates these neurons. So if you're constantly saying the same things to yourself, I'm tired, I'm tired. Like if you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, sorry, there's not enough time in the day. I'm overwhelmed, I'm overwhelmed. Oh, I'm sick. I'm always hurting, I'm in pain.
Yeah.
We create more and more of it.
It gets thicker, so our perception of reality becomes more specific. So in the book, and again, we don't want to get too technical, but it just to show you we want to show you what those 7 stages are in your blueprint of self-sabotage. So in the book, it kind of goes like this, but we're going to take it, we're going to show it to you in pictures actually. So something happens when you're a child and again, Joanna said as early as in, Inception, but something happens and all of a sudden you make a decision about yourself, others, and life itself. So it's like this trifecta decision in that moment. I am this, other people are that, life is this. Like, I'm unimportant, people are cruel, life is unfair. Right? I'm not good enough. People are smarter. Life is hard. So ultimately, you can see that the way that your brain thinks is that whenever you're actually looking at an event, this entire belief system is wired and it creates your filter of perception. That creates that same past experience, so you get a personal reality. So a lot of people are like, see, I told you it wouldn't work, whereas somebody else would come in and be like, see, I told you it would work. And that's why it's so individual for each of us, because our filter of perception is what's truly helping us see what is possible. And when it's clouded with beliefs that don't work, it doesn't make it easier. And so if you look at like number 1, that defining moment or trauma creates number 2, a decision, and then number 3 creates I love to do the coaching where we break through the blind spots with people, because it helps you understand like there's possibilities. Sometimes people say, oh, I saw this guy after all this time and he was right under my nose, or this incredible job opportunity was in my life the whole time, but I never knew it, or we were neighbors and we never even knew it. Like, people you have all the resources that you need, believe it or not, but because you're operating from this limited perception and a blind spot, you may not even see it. So after this perception, you actually, once your mind creates a perception of reality, the neuronal aspects actually become parts of you.
Yeah. And just was going to say something with what Tanya was saying as well, is like what she was saying, even like a situation in someone's home where money was hard to come by.
Yeah.
It was a struggle. It was paycheck to paycheck. There was like, no, you can't have this. No, you that child growing up in either one of those environments is obviously going to have their complete different perception of money, for example, but it sticks with them for life. And it may be even frustrating for anybody who's in a situation where money doesn't come easily, or you're struggling in your business, or there seems to be a threshold of what you can get to. It truly to look in your past and see where that came from, or what are the belief systems your parents had. Then what did you inherit? What did you take on that became your perception of how money is and how it is to get money or to have the things that you want or you deserve, versus that other person over there who is like, why does it just come so easy? They always seem to get it. It just comes because they believe it. It's just the way it is. So important to be able to identify that those beliefs that come first. And then, as Tanya was saying, it's truly now how we see everything through the glasses we wear, through our perception, our filter. And as she was saying, so then it becomes like a part of us. Like then it's now etched in, it's a snapshot, it's wiring, it's firing, it's like a record that plays and can get triggered in a moment and become this part of you that feels that way. But now here's the difference. There's a part of you that's the conscious, logical, rational person who wants to have better results, wants the love they want. And they know that they deserve an amazing man or an amazing woman, and that they deserve all those sort of things and what they're not going to tolerate from next time. But if there's a part of you that believes they're just not out there, or I don't really deserve it, or that I'm scared of actually getting hurt and opening up again, that part of you gets triggered and starts taking over. Again, why we need to look at this, because it can be sabotaging. And we use that expression. Why we really talk about that is in our book, the part of you, is because don't we say it in our dialogue all the time? We say a part of me wants to, go to the gym and really do this on a regular basis. I know that's the worst thing to say right now during COVID because a lot of the gyms are not even open, but we know to exercise, do whatever. But then a part of me wants to just stay on the couch and just like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Part of me wants to be successful. One part of me wants to start my own business, but a part of me is scared of failure. Or even a part of me scared of success. What if I really do get it? What if then I'm really overwhelmed? Can I handle it? A part of me that wants to have a loving family and reunite with any family members that maybe where there's a conflict. But a part of me is like just still mad or too scared to do it. A part of me that wants to just anything in your life that can. What did I write down? One here that I wanted to share.
Well, I can even say just for one from my life,
Sure.
like a part of me wants a fulfilling relationship, but then this part of me also believes I have to earn the love I get. So I'm constantly in a state of doing in my relationships, which sometimes causes resentment. You know what I mean? It's all of this stuff that's sort of underlying that you can't even see. It's like invisible to you until you kind of really start to do the deeper work, right?
Exactly. And the one I was I made a note of is also a part of me knows that I'm talented. I have a desire to do what I want in my life. I have all the capability. The fact that you're dreaming what you want to do, obviously you have the capability to do it. You have the passion to do it. You want to do it. But a part of me feels like I'm going to be an imposter. Like I'm going to be a fraud. Like if they really knew how much I don't know, if they really knew how scared I really am, if they really knew like that I'm really not good enough. Terrible. And we know that how many people feel those feelings. But again, to be able to recognize the duality of our mind, who's the real you, the rational, logical you. We want you to keep remembering that as a distinction. That is you, logically, as an adult, the one who has the aspiring and inspiring goals and the things that you want is the adult, the logical brain. But this other voice, what is that other voice and how important it is for us to identify it, hear it. We don't want to hear it. I know we kind of like shove it away and numb it out with alcohol, food, just TV, whatever it is. We don't want to hear it. But we want you to know that this is really an important thing to do. And that's why it takes the courage, as we're saying in our book, to look at that, or even in this workshop, because if you don't look at that, it will just keep running the show. And if you understand it, even just the awareness alone, ladies and gentlemen who are on this call, it's like to be able to say, no, that's not who I am as an adult. That's my 5-year-old. That's an 8-year-old. That's a 10-year-old. That's whatever, a 15-year-old that has made that decision. And that's a lie. That's from our past. That's so understanding that duality.
Exactly. And you know what? That's where the imposter syndrome comes from, because people say, oh my gosh, like, am I ever going to stop feeling like an imposter? And it's ultimately because, there's like Joanna said, there's this part of you that constantly feels like you're not enough, but that's not your present day person, because you can look at people's, CVs, and they've accomplished so much and they still feel like they're an imposter, even being themselves when their bio is written, is read out.
Mhm.
So ultimately,
And I
that's,
even wanted to just highlight, even on the picture that we have on the screen,
Mhm.
the part of you, it's like, knows that they're successful in their life and they're doing well and they have everything that they want. And there's many people who feel like I've got my great family, kids, good job, whatever, but a part of me feels sad. And that's another one. Part of me feels depressed. Part of me feels fear. Part of me feels anxiety. So all these things we know we could be, should be, I should be feeling this way, but a part of you feels deep down something that's taking you out, that feeling underneath. We want to pay attention to that, because that means that there is a part of us that's wounded inside that needs to be paid attention to, that is sad or anxious, and it's going to have come from our past.
And by
Right.
listening to that, that's what determines what our healing is. Like, some people think, oh my gosh, if I go to therapy, like, where do I begin and how long will it take? And the reality is that what you're actually feeling, it gives you the sign of what needs to be healed. So we're going to do this exercise in a minute. So, but the key part is to understand is that when you show up, there is always two of you, but ultimately the part of you that gets triggered, and it only gets triggered when you're in a state of fear. So it's like when you get scared, but it can stay triggered for a while and that continue to run your life. And the way that this part expresses itself is either through inner chatter, by telling you all of the time. So these inner thoughts, you're like thinking, oh, I can't wait for this to be over. Meanwhile, like, this has been something you've been looking forward to for a while. You're just like, oh, I can't wait for this to be over already, because it's taking away your joy. Or if you're, if it's your intimate life, it's like, don't get any closer, or don't tell them more about yourself, or don't open your mouth, or whatever the thing is saying on the inside. And sometimes the part actually communicates to you in physical symptoms. So when you don't want to do something, you just get so tired and it's almost like you're going to sleep, or like you're hungry and you just need to eat, or you can't get out of bed, or like you're hurting your neck, your back. And so many people,
Or just fatigue.
yeah, fatigue.
Yeah,
Like
fatigue.
a lot of times
Sorry,
it is
Tanya, sorry.
fatigue. No, that's okay.
Mhm.
But you're right. It is fatigue, because your subconscious mind's trying to slow you down and not let you go towards the thing you're wanting, because somewhere in its subconscious mind, it's telling you that you can't have it. So ultimately there's two ways to do it, right? You can either kick yourself into action, and then the new action eventually becomes a new neuronal pattern, and that becomes a habit, and that's perfect. But sometimes, over time in your life, when it's not just exercise, but it's something deeper like making money or love, you do need to do that deeper work, which is why this book, why we wrote this book. So it'll help you kind of understand what's going on.
And just before can you go back to the other one just
sure.
for a second, sweetheart? And this is so important to
Yeah.
recognize, everyone on this call, is that these might be the only time you actually notice something's going wrong.
Right.
So these other stages you may not recognize, of course, as a defining moment. You may not even recognize it, all of a sudden my perception's off. You might not notice it. All of a sudden it's like a part of you feels that way. But this is where you'll physically start or hear it in your body. All of a sudden, that inner chatter.
Right.
Oh, why bother? You know what? I'm too old to do that. I'm too young to do that. I'm not smart enough to do that. You know what? I don't know, I'm scared, or this feeling inside. Please know that this is the time to really, this is the one you want to recognize, because if something like that's happening, there's a struggle within you. All of a sudden now, instead of going forward, you're feeling the fear. You're hearing the voice. So this is where we want to identify, I'm struggling, something's going on. Why is something not going in flow? This is where now I need to stop for a moment and go, what is that fear? What's in the way? Getting in the way of me moving forward. Why have I put this off for 3 days now? Oh my goodness, why have I just said, oh, tomorrow? Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, there's plenty of time. I'll do it tomorrow. And there's times it's okay, in your life when it's okay to put it off to tomorrow. But we're just saying when it's not okay to put it off to tomorrow, to hear that voice. And especially the one that's sabotaging in a very, or let's more say like just destructive, self-abuse,
like
voice.
real mean
voice, the mean girl in there, the mean boy in there, that really starts destroying us on that internal level. Really important to recognize that. That's some part of you from young, only from young, feeling that way. Now, you could have indoctrinated yourself and collapsed yourself into believing it. This is the problem. If it's been going on for a number of years and you've been telling yourself for this for so long, you now think it's actually even in your conscious mind that it's a possibility that you're truly not good enough, you know, not pretty enough, not handsome enough, not, you know, worthy enough, all those sort of things. So important to recognize.
Yeah, exactly. And I know for myself, when I was in the throes of all this, I can tell you that my inner chatter was so destructive. Like it would just be like really horrible, like true self-abuse. And I didn't notice it at all, honestly, until I started to really listen. And I think, oh,
Until I forced you to listen.
Yeah, Joanna forced me. It was so annoying to work with Joanna. I'm going to tell you right now. It's
Yes.
like, no, but it's just, you know, the reality was, it's like, why do I hate myself? So every time I made a mistake, it wasn't just, oh, I made a mistake. Like some people can, okay, you made a mistake, you'll be fine next. No, I'd be like, I hate myself.
Yeah.
I'm so stupid. Like, why am I doing this? So your subconscious mind punishes you so it doesn't give you the opportunity to put yourself in that situation again, because there's something really bad about making a mistake. And when I grew up, it was like failure is not an option. You know what I mean? So of course, every time I get near failure, it would be like all alarms go off. And ultimately, you know, this whole situation creates patterns in your life. So you're attracting those people who agree with you, and situations like, so when you're not enough, you'll reflect not enough in your life, you know. So
and even clients, like attracting clients that have all the money issues and can't afford it and whatever. And it's so powerful to really get that. You attract proof. So if all of a sudden it's like, you don't have enough money, people won't pay the money, who will you attract? Somebody who actually comes to you and says, I can't afford it. I don't have the money. Can you give me a deal? Can you give me a deal? Versus the abundance that we really want to have as a different core belief. So yes, that pattern keeps coming in what keeps showing up in our life.
Yeah. And you'll notice even in negotiations, people will say the price and they'll say, but I'll give you a deal. Like they won't even wait for the negotiation because they're already assuming that the other person can't or won't afford it. So ultimately, you know, in the 7 stages, our beliefs will create our life and our results, and especially your future if you let them. So we want to take you through this exercise just now called the defining moment exercise in chapter 5. So if you have, you know, what we'd like you to do is actually participate in the chat. Don't worry, you're not going to make any revealing statements about yourself, we promise. But the first thing that we're going to do is actually ask you to take a nice deep breath in. And just get really present to yourself. And, you know, we know this is kind of done on the fly, but if you can think of a defining moment from a specific incident or life experience that was upsetting or traumatic, or when you felt, you know, maybe rejected or guilty or resentful or angry, and, you know, your mind will come up with it like right away. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Just take the first thing that you get. Okay, now you might
let's give them a moment. Just really think about that. And that can be from very young, something that you know was pivotal in your life, or even just something that's happened in the past 5 years or 10 years.
Exactly. So you can write down on your paper how old, you know, that part of you is, like how old you were at that particular time. And, you know, in one word, like you can write it into the chat, sort of what happened. You know, maybe it was divorce, or it was your parents' divorce, or it was bullying, or like whatever the kind of category was.
A lot of fighting in your life, the parents.
We're just going to show you how this really works.
I wonder if we can see the chat.
Yeah, we can. The chat. Okay. So now that you kind of let us know if we're going too fast. Okay. So we'd like you to just think about how it made you feel. So if you can just write down the emotions, and again, like in the chat would be great if you can. Sorry.
And you don't have to do them all in the chat, just kind of an idea, giving us an idea. If you want to participate, we'd love that, to be able to feed off that. But again, for you in that moment, when that happened to you, how did it make you feel?
And Virginia, we can't actually see the chat because for some reason the screen sharing, but if you can see people chatting in, if you can just read out what the replies are.
Yeah. So puberty, getting packaged out of work last year at 48.
Right.
Teen pregnancy, not being smart enough. And some are quite early, like 5 or 6.
Yep.
Sorry, like 16, age 9. Violence at 5 or 6 years old. Upholding or withholding, feeling unworthy. 5 or 6 or 4 or 5 years old, bedwetting. So just like things that happen when people are quite young.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies, for being vulnerable. We love this because this is where it is. To really understand it's these moments in our life. And even when somebody said about not smart enough, but again, notice what happened first though. So I get, this is like a number 2. How did it make you feel? Not smart enough, but it's like, if you know the experience, because you could have put your hand up in school, you know, and all of a sudden everybody laughed because it was the wrong answer. It's just crazy. Like we look at it now and go, oh, it's no big deal. But for a little 8-year-old in class and everybody laughs at them, what does that person choose in that moment? What do they decide? Never sticking my neck up, never putting my hand up again. Going to stay under the radar. You know what? Going to stay safe here. And now it's running you as a 40-year-old woman or man in your life, in your business and everything, because you just stay back and kind of just watch because you don't want to risk. So important to be able to do that. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for doing that. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so
So they say they feel
ahead of the game, but when you're, oh, sorry, go ahead.
They feel rejected, guilty, feel like an outsider.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Exactly. And you'll notice that emotional template, okay, is that it is also kind of how you automatically feel when something also happens today. Like somebody hangs, you know, you don't get what you want. Sometimes you go into that guilty or rejected, or, you know, that's amazing. It's like those 3 key emotions that you felt back then are often echoed in today's experiences. So people who immediately, some people say I go from 0 to like 10 in terms of how angry I get. It's so explosive. And, you know, likely we go back into one of those defining moments and that's where they went. They just freaked out, like that kind of thing. So it's not even a gradual or rational, you know, place that they go to.
And of course, it's even what you can learn from your parents around you. If that's the way dad always reacted, that's the way mom always reacted, but also the same with sadness. You know, so one end of the spectrum or the other, you know, that all of a sudden you feel like you want to cry or you feel completely demoralized or get depressed or just want to go to bed because immediately, why is this feeling washing over me of sadness or just defeated? Again, is it familiar from when that happened in those defining moments in your life?
Exactly. And, you know, one of them I know that Joanna goes through a lot is disappointment. So, you know, even now today, like if I do something that isn't easy for her or she was unexpecting, like her default emotion is disappointment. And that's because of so much disappointment she'd had in her own life. So like I'm saying, you know, even though we do this work, it still echoes, but it just helps you understand, okay, I know where it's coming from. So I don't have to just jump on the emotional bandwagon and let it take me down this gigantic vortex all the way to the bottomless pit. So we want to now ask you, like, what decisions, you know, and some of you already wrote them, what decisions or conclusions, beliefs did you make about yourself? So I am, and you can write into the chat or on your paper, like I am, like if someone said I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, or I am, you know,
or life is
like, yeah,
it's
people
are
others, like people are cruel or people are judgmental, you know, people are or life is unsafe.
Or I can't trust anyone.
Yeah.
I'm on my own.
Yeah.
Kind of look at what decision you made. We'll be quiet for a moment. Okay,
Life.
anything, Virginia? Yeah.
Yeah. So life's unsafe. Trusting others may come with a cost. Just depending completely on yourself. Some will reject, others will comfort. Life's hard. Propelled to heal.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Life's unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And boy, and then when we have those belief systems, you know, as Tanya's going to go, and like even just making a decision, life is unfair. Think about that being your neuronal wiring. Think about that being your operating system, or that I can't trust anyone, or I'm on my own. You know, you're going to know in this, anybody who's got a belief system, I'm on my own. You have always felt it, and you feel like you can't rely on anybody. You can't be supported by anyone. You have to do it all yourself. And that will be the pattern. I can't even read that one under there. Yeah.
And because of that, you know what? You don't ask for help because you don't think anyone can or will help you, right? If you're on your own. And so many times we have people who are on their own that start off their own company. And as I meet a lot of entrepreneurs, I do a lot of entrepreneurial coaching. And, you know, it's those people that start their business because they're on their own and self-reliant, but then they struggle to hire people who they can delegate to, and they don't even have a proper delegation process because they don't trust that anyone's actually going to show up for them. And yet they blame the market, or they blame the hiring process, or, you know, the recruiters. But ultimately, what's really important for all of us to understand, you know, everyone who's listening on the call, is that whatever your beliefs are, your brain seeks to make you right. And that's why it's so important for us to look to change these beliefs, and not just to go pie in the sky, okay, I'm going to trust everyone now, but on a subconscious level to really do the healing work necessary in order for you to be able to let that negative belief go. Because if it doesn't, then what ends up happening is that whatever those beliefs are that we had in our early childhood, they create the life we have to a certain point, and it's working for us. But then once we get like after 30 and especially 40 plus, it starts working against us. And that's where people go into what's called this midlife crisis. But really what it is a healing crisis, because what gets you there what gets you here kind of won't get you there. And that's why it's so important to like do this deeper work. Otherwise you end up kind of ruining your life like later on, and then never really understanding who you truly are. So we want you to think about how those beliefs have affected you or been affecting you, and, you know, taken away some of that well-being in your life. Like, what do you do or not do because of it? And that's where we're going to give you another, you know, minute or so just to like share with us, like, what happens as a result of you thinking this way, do you think?
Can you see it? Can you see patterns?
So people have apprehensive to throw myself back into work at a new job, mistrust of employers and colleagues. Boys and men are pigs, not respectful and can't be trusted. Held me back from trying to learn something new. Made it more difficult to ask for help, as I saw it as a weakness. Learning to really challenge these beliefs in my thinking. Not sure I want the job, or do I just want to prove a point?
Exactly. So looking at all of that, right? And thinking
that's career choices, even for people, you know, we work with people who, of course, what your dad wanted, what your mom wanted you to do and be. And then all of a sudden at 45 years old, somebody realizing, I don't even like this. I don't even want to, or some decision very young that made you think that's what you had to do. That's who you had to be. You know, so important for us to look at that, because again, getting to the place where we want this joy per minute, we want a life that's happier. If we all of a sudden realize, well, we've been being run by corrupting belief systems, or like negative belief systems that are just not, first of all, not the truth. Like, we really get to that place to realize, oh my goodness, this is a lie. Like, yes, it was the truth when I was 5 and I was in that situation with a bully. And all of a sudden I thought, I'm going to stay out of the way. Sure, it was true in the moment, but now it's stuck for good. And now we're 50 and it's still running us, that, you know, that we need to stay low and lie low and just stay in the corner, but it's not working. So to be able to really recognize that that is the lie, but just to also now see, yeah, how has that really been showing up everywhere in my life?
Yeah. There's comments about relationships here too, how it impacts relationships.
Massive.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to read out to us?
No. Oh, wait. Sorry. Yes, a bunch just came in. 2 failed marriages, and at 60 plus, never had a successful love relationship, overworking and compromising health. Yeah. I think I see that a lot in 2020, the overworking almost, because you're like, just, you know, we should be grateful that we have these jobs, and
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Again, but then that's a conversation that runs us even harder, right? And again, we've been triggered. So now, of course, with this major trauma, it is a real, talk about a defining moment, but it's a trauma for people. And it's all etched in fear as well underneath, and other people in fear. So even more so, these belief systems are going to be triggered. But again, where is it very young? And again, as an adult, and especially kind of talking about like even the pandemic situation of how we can handle this, to even or understand, like as a 40-year-old or 50-year-old or whatever age you are person, to deal with these things with the knowledge that we have, that we can keep safe, or it's a certain time, or to be positive, we could do that. But when we have had these belief systems underneath, these negative belief systems, it's like a double whammy. So it's like now something else has been triggered. We are truly, like, fear has already been triggered because there was something else that happened to us when we were 7 that was a fear state, or then at 10. And now something like this happening, we don't handle it as well. We don't handle it the way we need to handle it.
It's even harder. It's even harder because you're already if you're already hard on yourself, okay, and then this happens, you're going to be harder on yourself, right? Because now you're not in the ideal circumstances, you're in, a pandemic. So now it's like harder. So the thing is that just like you've created these, negative beliefs that happened automatically, you can also create new and empowering beliefs. I mean, of course, we want you to go through the actual deeper work and figure out what that is, whether it's the therapy that's required. But in the short term, what we want you to do is first and foremost understand that you're applying what's called the circle of influence. Okay, and this is the cognitive behavioral therapy model. So we often think that an emotion comes before a thought, like we feel a thing and then we think a thing, like I'm anxious, and then it perpetuates my thinking. But actually, it's the thought that comes first. It's like, I have to work harder. Or Virginia, like you said, I should be grateful for my job. So the emotion is, oh, well, I better do, I'm scared that I won't have it, that they're going to lay me off. So the action is I'm going to hyper prove myself, and I'm going to make sure that I do more than I need to make sure that they really see the value I'm producing. And the results are that you're out of balance and overworked, and then you have burnout and you're overwhelmed, right? But what if there was a different thought that was at play that managed your emotions? Or in that thought where, I can't, like, men are pigs, and then you go on a dating site and then every person that you look at, you're like,
and attract.
Yeah, you're just like, men are pigs. And so anything that men will say, you just automatically are disgusted. Then men feel rejection. And then their action is to be defensive. And the result is that you end up not having, intimacy and connection. So
and then you prove yourself right.
Right. Like, that's the thing. It's like, so imagine you're creating your life with your thoughts. So we just want you to understand, first of all, how influential that is in your life.
And how quickly that happens, that thought.
Yeah.
And how quickly that happens. Remember, it's 1,000,000 times faster than this brain. So you'll catch it in the emotion. All of a sudden, why do I feel sad? Why do I feel angry? Why do I feel jilted? Why does something feel off? Why do I have a feeling in my stomach? Like I just feel, that feeling in the stomach, in your stomach, the pit of your stomach, where it's like you just feel like something's wrong. Okay, we've missed the thought. We might have missed the thought because the thought did come through very fast. Yeah. That's why sometimes we need to backtrack and go, what am I thinking that's allowed my body now to go into this emotion?
That's right. And one of the exercises we do in the book is have you write down all those thoughts. Like when you're feeling that, I mean, there's so many good things in here, but you just write down the negative thoughts that you're thinking right away so that they can become present to you. You think, oh my gosh, like no wonder I feel like this, right? And this is the danger, right? The older that we get, the more comfortable we feel with our paradigm, okay? So not wanting to ask for help because asking for help is a weakness is a way of living, and then it becomes comfortable, but then it becomes your prison of limitation, and then you can't grow because you're unwilling to change your strategies. And so ultimately it's important to get out of your comfort zone and try new things and get into that new belief system, because if you don't, then you'll live in this prison of limitation. And we noticed that, we've done honestly hundreds and hundreds of workshops together, Joanna and I with women, and myself, honestly thousands as a professional speaker over the last 20 years. And when we did our Investing in You series and women were discovering their relationship with themselves or their relationship with money or their relationship to love, to security, we did all of these belief exercises, and we realized that out of all the hundreds and hundreds of things that you say to yourself negatively in your mind, they boil down to only 7 subconscious beliefs that truly sabotage your life.
Mhm. And those I will just go through them, and it's important for us all to take a look at these. So we'll have all of these, or some, you'll see that some really resonate with you. So I'm not enough, and that could be I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not this enough, I'm not whatever it is. Like, it's enough in so many different areas, but I am not enough is like the major big one.
And I just want to say that'll drive you to, like, I know that I'm triggered when I'm thinking I'm about to apply for something, or I'm about to do something different outside my comfort zone, and all of a sudden I'm Googling like online degrees to get my master's or PhD. You know what I mean? I'm like, Tanya, you have enough education, you don't need a PhD, but I'm like compelled for this PhD because that would make me smart enough. You know what I mean? It's hard. Like, that's what, so it motivates actions that you don't even realize are happening before you can even realize. You know, it's amazing.
You do 2 and 3. And number 2 is I'm not lovable, but in that, again, it's I'm not loved. So it's a feeling of like where you're not loved, like period, by anybody, your family, your friends, people around, not likable, all those sort of things. And again, so it's the lovable as well, that somebody would actually even love me, let alone me feeling loved, but also that would somebody love me for that lovable, for who I am. And then, which brings us right into I'm not worthy. Again, and that worthy is about being deserving as well. Like, if I was worthy, then I would be deserving of these things. And boy, if you can't be in that worthy place, which is the worthy of even receiving our dreams and what we want, it's so important, because if we're not receiving, and it's too hard to receive, or we've learned that because we're on our own, we do everything on our own, we don't get support from anybody, you know, are you worthy of that support? Are you worthy of that receiving? Because it makes a huge difference whether you're going to get those results. Not trusting. Again, I do not trust. I don't trust. Well, myself is the worst. Like, even if you don't trust yourself, it's one of the worst ones that come underneath there, because I don't trust women, I don't trust men, I don't trust friends, I don't trust life, I don't trust anybody. But when it's like, not trusting yourself, and you doubt yourself even on a deeper level, that one's a real crippling one. Okay, I'm all alone in this world. So again, which again triggers all those other belief systems. So then I have to do it by myself. And, you know, again, I'm not supported, nobody's there for me. Again, I'm not safe. So I'm not safe in this world. This world is not safe. So in that place, what do we start doing? And then for those ones, it's huge for anxiety, for people who live with anxiety and anxiety attacks, panic attacks, you know, fears that are there all the time. And then, of course, this last one, life is hard. So again, it's these belief systems that are very defining belief systems, are like, life is hard, life is struggle, life is unfair, life never works for me. Those kind of beliefs that all come into those under this category.
Versus life can be in flow, right? It's not like life's not hard. Of course, life is hard, but it's the difference between somebody who renovates their house and it's annoying and hard, and then somebody who renovates their house and everything falls apart through every single renovation. Oh my gosh.
Because they believe that everything's going to be hard. Like, that's the difference.
It doesn't have to be that hard. And that's the thing. It's like, you think it doesn't have to be like this. And when we think about this pandemic, all the people that right now are being isolated and they're not seeing family during the holidays, and they don't feel safe, and it makes it harder not to trust and not feel worthy. Like, we really know that at this point, this stuff is like acute right now. So it's more important than ever to get a hold of yourself and literally force and create, like, bake new beliefs into your life. And we know that Einstein and all the greatest scholars have always said the world is created. It's a product of our thinking. Our world, your world is a product of your thinking. You can't change it without changing your thinking. So now we want you to take a moment and look at the beliefs that you wrote down from your defining moment. Okay, so like whatever those, 1, 2, or 3 were. Okay. And we want you to think about, okay, what happens when you think those thoughts, right? They're not productive or good for you. Meaning, like, we should be grateful to be working. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't look like it's an unproductive thought, but there's got to be a better thought in there, meaning that my work wants me to be well and taken care of. Work wants me to be a healthy, sustainable employee, right? So it's like that type of thing, right? Or just, I deserve to be, I deserve to be happy and well rested. Like, go to sleep. You know, sometimes you just don't go to sleep because you're like fiddling with this or putting another laundry or whatever. It's like, you know what? I deserve sleep. I need to be well rested. Like, parenting yourself from that perspective.
So, and as Tanya was saying, because sometimes it may feel like, well, I can't say like, oh, the world's wonderful or everything's working out for me. Yeah, that might be too much of a stretch for us at the moment. But we also, to understand today what you're learning, if you keep saying those things, the negative things that you have on your paper, you will keep producing that. You will look at life through that filter and it will show up that way.
That's right.
Because that is what the brain does. It looks for evidence and it gives you more proof. And here's the problem. Every time you get more proof, it reinforces those neurons and fires it together. It really is how life is. It really is unfair. Nothing ever works out for me. But in that place of gratitude as well, like to even switch it around in a place of gratitude, to be able to see what are the good things that are amazing that have shown up, even in spite of this pandemic, even in spite of the situations that have happened. And people have been doing that. They have been looking at what is the switch? What is the way I can look at this from a place of gratitude? And that can be a way we can adjust those thoughts even a little bit more productively. So that, remember, you want to program your mind that I can start looking for more of what I'm grateful for, and it will show up, because that's how the brain works. That you have the power to do that with your subconscious mind, to train it, to let it know, okay, no, this is what I'm looking for now. I'm looking for great men. I see great men everywhere. I see wonderful men everywhere. I see great marriages. I see great people out there. I see great opportunities. Lots of people have seen great opportunities, like amid this craziness that's happened. And it's incredible, that there have been many people creating new things in that space. But the moment you think there's nothing, or even if it is like, well, not seeing your family, I'm not seeing my family, I'm missing this time, and blah, blah, blah. The moment you think that, you will not see or feel any other possibilities. But the moment you say, oh yeah, I'm keeping connected, I'm connecting myself with people, you will all of a sudden start to see, like, the blinders come open and you start to see new opportunities where you can connect. And I get it's not the way we wanted it, but thank goodness for Zoom or any other platform that's doing these sort of things, or the phone, or whatever it needs to be in communication with people. But we have to be able to see have to start looking at how we can switch that around. As long as we've now identified the negative, how it makes us feel, if you keep saying it, you're in trouble.
So what we'd like you to do is actually write in the chat what your new positive thought is. If you can do that for us, we're going to help you see how this is going to, and we want you to look at this like decluttering your house, decluttering your kitchen. You've all been organizing, you've all been upgrading certain things. This is your time to declutter your belief systems, things that don't work for you anymore, things that you've outgrown, and, put things in order. Put your life in order from the thoughts that you think. So Virginia, if you can read some of those positive thoughts people have potentially put in there.
Yeah. So there was a comment, positive thoughts, law of attraction. I receive help. My emotions and opinions matter. I'm confident. Time is available to me and purposeful. Before I get out of bed, I say positive words. I am strong and wise. My learning and healing continues. I deserve peace. I'm intentional. I will be appreciated. People want me to succeed. I know personally, when you spoke of Zoom and stuff, I can say that I'm more connected now with my coworkers than I ever actually have been, because we have these set morning meetings every day. I am powerful. I speak up. I am enough. I can write my dissertation. I can do this. I am worthy. I am grateful. And then someone commented, say 3 things that you're grateful for every day.
Good. And,
beautiful.
And we
Thank
want
you,
you to,
ladies.
exactly. Thank you so much. Honestly, we want you to focus on the gratitude, the list that's important. And then 3, like, I am appreciated rather than I will be. And then really look at the end of your day, take the inventory. Where have you been appreciated today? Who said thank you? Because when you think that you're unappreciated, you miss all the thank yous. And you know this because as women in particular, we're so guilty of not being able to take a compliment. We're better now as a race class, like, or as a cohort. But before, it would be like somebody would give you a compliment, you'd practically smack them, you know? So it's really important to be able to understand that we are in the blind spot of our life, missing so much good when we're in that negative space. So,
and if we do that,
Mhm.
it's true. It's like, remember, you're creating a new neuronal pattern. And the more you do that over and over again,
Yeah.
those thoughts, you are creating
yeah.
new patterns, new beliefs, new everything in your mind.
Yeah, like I've written an excellent dissertation that is respected worldwide.
Mhm.
And then when you think that thought, automatically your conscious mind starts bringing up new ideas. Okay, if I actually wrote a dissertation that was respected worldwide, what else could I put into it? How else would it sound? What would I include? And that's the thing. It's like, not only are you commanding your brain, but you're commanding your brain to also come up with things. And you know that this works because you think, oh, I can't remember the name of that book or that person. And then all of a sudden, 2 hours later, it'll just pop into your mind. Well, a lot of these inspired thoughts come from the positive beliefs that you say, right? I am appreciated. I am choosing the right work for me. I am fulfilled. I am in the right relationship for me. And all of a sudden, some sort of inspiration comes to you. And that's, again, where you put the courage. You have to have the courage to be able to act on it,
Mhm.
right?
Can we just do that one again? I don't think we did that. So ladies,
Okay.
if you can, just even for a moment, this question that's on the screen now, who would you be if you were now those positive thoughts? Who would you be without the negative thoughts?
Mhm.
And who would you be then if you thought these positive thoughts? Just take a moment and think about that and see that for yourself. If you believed it and knew it, the positive ones that you just said.
That's right.
And all of a sudden, to be in that place, you can have that paradigm shift of seeing what's possible.
Oh, I like your smile, Virginia.
I just like the answer that came through. So Diana said, Diana
Yeah.
Danetsky, PhD.
Nice.
Ooh, there we go. Right. Exactly.
I really like that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, and then you live into that possibility, and just remember, it's how the brain works. So you may as well be saying the right things rather than something is destructive and is never going to produce what you really want. So being aware of this, so important, of what is undermining you, what is undermined, to get that out of the way. And then to feel this power, who I could be. Yeah, it's just a matter of having that shift in my mind. I need to say something different.
Yeah. And we are always at the subject of our thoughts. Like,
Mhm.
I honestly feel like so many times when my mind says something or thinks something, I take it like it's the truth and I think it must be so. But what if I was actually the master of my own mind? Then I could command it and get it to do the things I need it to do, rather than being at the effect of it, because it's only showing me what it's seen previously. And if it looks into the future, it often looks at the worst case scenario and reports it to me. So that's not exactly what I want. I want to be in the driver's seat of my car. And we want you to just remember that your mind rejects the unfamiliar. Like, whatever's familiar, your mind goes, that must be right, because it's familiar. That's even what we do with news, right? So if you're saying something new, your mind in the beginning might be like, I don't think so. But you just got to keep repeating it until, you actually start to see it and do the inventory at the end of the day. Like, where do I see that this is true? So we want you to be an observer of your thoughts. We want you to know that what those icky feelings are, not to push them away, but to embrace that that's what's calling out for healing and transformation. And in the short term, until you do the deeper work, at least for sure, transform your thinking and upgrade your thought, literally decluttering. Like, this looks terrible on me, this thought. I need to absolutely upgrade this thought to something that does make you feel better. And again, Joanna said it doesn't have to be pie in the sky. It has to be something that you feel comfortable and nourished and well with, right? It is well with my soul. Okay. And we would like you to obviously get in touch with us. So info@courageousliving.com. Obviously, if you want to buy the book, it's there for you. There's tons of those really great programs and, sheets in it. I'm going to stop sharing so people can see our faces.
Oh, yeah. As well as, for some people today, it might have brought up something that's really deep, something that really is a trauma, or something that from your past that you're seeing, no matter what you've done, no matter how much positive thinking, you can't seem to change this, and you're having these continuous bad results. that is what I do as well. And whether you want to do it from other people that do subconscious work and subconscious therapy, but I would really encourage you, Tanya would as well, to do that deeper work. That's another level of deeper work where you actually do a therapy where it is going to work on the subconscious mind. It's tackling that, not just your conscious brain that knows better. I should say something better, do something better, and now I got to go do my tasks and do it. No, it's changing the neuronal wiring, changing the picture, changing the record that's playing, that's getting triggered, and that is actually healing. The 2-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, one in the womb, wherever it is in your that created these right from the beginning, and it does have profound effects. Really makes things easier in your life. So you can reach out to us as well.
1 second. They're saying that Zoom is because we're frozen. Remember that happened yesterday. So Zoom on our end is like not responding, but you can hear us. So that's
we can hear you.
That's the most important thing. So we've also got we're basically at time. If anyone has any questions, you can either email us and we'll get back to you, or if there's something, if you want to write in the chat something that you got from being in this time with us, we'd love to know from you kind of what you got from this time.
And also just know that Virginia as well and the WXN team are going to be sending out on the recording, but also we're going to include our affirmation card. We have it as a little card, but we'll just have as the attachment will be there. So even if some of you are having a hard time saying something positive, no matter what, you can have a good start with these sayings. And we encourage you to do that every morning and every night. Start training your mind to be saying the positive, like you in it, like you believe it, like you know it.
That's right. Thank you, ladies. We love you. We support you. We love the WXN. Thank you so much, Virginia.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're here for you. We're here to support you in every single possible way.
We had definitely positive thoughts here. Everyone saying thank you. And just the encouragement and support that you've provided today. Thank you so much. Someone said, just what I needed on an anxiety-filled day. Thank you very, very much, Joanna and Tanya. It's been a fantastic session, and we really appreciate all the insight and the activities that you did with us, because it was just very telling on how you can just switch that message and switch the neurons.
Yeah. And the key, and the key is for us, like we look into our cupboards and our closet and think, oh, I've got to get rid of some of this stuff. But rarely do we ever look into our mind and think the same thing. And this is that opportunity for us to look into the mind, and most importantly, look into your life. And wherever you're feeling anxious or sadness or lack of satisfaction, think to yourself that the source is within you, that you have the opportunity to declutter whatever it is that's behind it. And you really do have the opportunity to change your mind and start again and write that next new chapter. And we're here for you. Thank you again so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Oh, so it's your computer.
Yeah. But this is,
oh, thank goodness it didn't stop before. Yeah. Doing all awesome. Stop share?
I tried it.
Okay.
Yeah, just at the top, you can do stop share, I think.
I've tried it. Like it's, you know what it is? It's just, frozen? It's frozen on our end. Like Zoom's not responding for stop share. But so yeah, when you end the meeting, it all kind of cuts it all out.
Well, okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll send out the recording shortly.
Oh, there we are.
Oh, we're back.
There we go. Okay.
Good. Amazing. There we go.
Okay. So we have other book clubs that are coming up in December. If you have a chance, have your little ones enjoy a children's book reading from Top 100 winner Claudette McGowan. And then we have lineups in the new year from Janice McDonald, Jody Kovitz, Glory Meldrum, and it goes right all the way into December of next year with Top 100 winners sharing their books.
Fantastic. Thank you again so much for all the great work you do. We can't wait for the gala, Top 100 Gala.
Yes, I have a slide on that. So this week we're doing a feature. Gurji is our feature member this week, and I think I saw her on the call. So that we're going to do a blog with her tomorrow. And also, if you are not a member, this is a great time to join. It's just $8.25 a month right now, or $99 for the year. And that offer is good until the end of this year. We're also featuring a lot of our wisdom mentors. So these are top 100 winners that have joined us to be mentors. So we have a great lineup of mentors coming up for 2021. And we are promoting our mentorship program right now. It's starting in January 2021, and it will run the whole year. And that will include sessions every single month, and obviously sessions with your mentor. Upcoming events. So we have our Monday Mojo that is still running for the rest of November and into December. Our Unite and Rise web series, which you've participated in today. We have two more sessions in November. And then of course, our Canada's Most Powerful Women Top 100 event. So this year's theme is Unite and Rise Beyond Borders. So we, with everything being virtual, we've had an opportunity to reach out to such a giant network of speakers and moderators, and we're very excited to have the events go over a full 2 days, 2 days of summit, and then our gala on December 3rd. And we're going to, our gala MC is Arissa Cox from Big Brother Canada, and our gala keynote is Dr. Mackie Mandela, and she is going to be coming in all the way from, she's going to be virtually joining us all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa. So we're very excited about that. And Cynthia Loyce from CTV's The Social will be our keynote speaker at our summit. And that's everything. So thank you again, Joanna and Tanya, and thank you everyone for joining us today at our event, and we look forward to seeing you at future events.
Bye, everyone.
Take care, everybody.